I am alive, apparently. He's alive! Whatever that means. Sure, I'll just sit here and wait for people to show up. Yes, that's how it works. But, that's exactly how it works. I don't know. If I don't have people coming up, I don't need the earbuds right now. But, it is what it is. But, I'm hoping that Dana enjoys some people over to see me in a minute, because this could be fun. Because it's the middle of the night, and I'm tired, and I'm punchy, and who knows what's going to happen. Oh, hey, Kay, nice to see you. Can you hear me? I'm not speaking very loud right now, but can you hear me? Looks like we have 3 people here. This is just a spontaneous thing, unplanned. But since I was awake, okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, since I was awake, hi, Ford man, how are you? Oh my goodness gracious. It's good to see people here. But yeah, I'm just doing this spontaneously. I don't know how long I'll be on. Probably, well, certainly at least an hour. But yeah, I hope I get some of. I think Dana and Joe were just about to sign off, and that's why they were suggesting that someone else go live. And I said, "Oh heck yeah," because I need the hours. And besides, it was awake because it was either that or just toss and turn in bed and not sleep, and watch videos on my phone. Hi, NDT. So, okay, I'm glad everybody can hear me because I'm not really. Well, as I often say, I speak softly and carry a big hook. Oops, it's a big hook. Although I don't, I hold it pencil style. I rather knife style, not pencil style. But no, I use that for a prop. I don't know that I've ever. Someone gave me that as a gift. I don't know that I've ever really used that to crochet anything. That I think it's a 25 millimeter hook. I mean, what can you do with a 25 millimeter hook? You can do a lot with a 25 millimeter hook, but I haven't done it yet. I'll tell you that. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness, we have 7 people here. That's cool. That is so cool. Oh, I'm going to be oof. Yawning a lot. I'm also going to put a link in the chat if anybody wants to come up with me. Hey, Dana. Thanks for sending people over here and giving me this opportunity. So, hi, YTFP Chris. Tell me what YTFP means. Hi, Holy Spirit. Good to see you. Let's see. I'm sure I should know already what YTFP means. Hi, Ingrid. Oh, glad to see you. Oh my goodness. The Ophelia Mystery Cow? I'm not sure that I know about it, but I'm glad it's turning out well. Oh, YouTube for posting. Duh. Hi, Liz. Glad to see you too. Oh my goodness. I'm making a hat right now. Do you know I'm making my rice stitch hat with the ribbing at the top. You can't see it that well. Maybe you can see it, I don't know. But it's got the ribbing at the top rather than the plain circle at the top. This is going to be a gift, and it goes along with, where's the scarf I was looking for? I put the scarf aside because I got a little bored with it, but I do need to finish it as well. Okay, here's the scarf that goes with it. It's actually my Alicia shawl, which can be used as a scarf, particularly since the guy I'm making this for is somewhat flamboyant of nature. So, well, that'll work out well. And it's the same yarn, so it should all be nice. But I got bored with that, and I didn't know how much yarn I would have left over. So I wanted to do the hat, and then every bit of yarn that I have left after the hat goes into the shawl because I want it to be long and flamboyant. Okay, hi, Jolene Ducharme. I'm not sure I've ever met you before, but I'm certainly glad to see you. Hi, Christie's Creations, and hi, Kelly. Hi, Proverbs. Hi, Bears Crochet Critters. Look at all the people here. It's nice, isn't it? So just a second ago, I posted a link if anybody wants to come up with me and, just have a chat. Oh, because I'm going to be yawning. I will tell you that. So, oh my why? What else is going on? Okay, just in case anybody has not seen it yet, I have to show you this new yarn that I got. I am so excited about this yarn. I don't buy posh yarns usually. It's the other one. Oh no! I lost the other one. Anyway, it's from the Pawply Yarn Company, and it's Pawply is this young guy. He's only, I think he's 24, and he has his own hand-dyed yarn company. And he's not doing it full-time yet, but we would love for him to do it full-time because he has a wonderful talent for color. Look at this. This is a combination of orange and pink and lavender. And honestly, he and I made up this colorway together. Guess what he called it? Well, actually, I asked him to call it this. Ginger Bear. Oh my God, I love it. And it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Each of these skeins is 425 meters. So together it's 850 meters. And it's beautiful. If somebody has a calculator nearby, multiply 850 by 1.1 and we'll know the yardage. I'm so bad at doing math in my head. Like for a week, well, not a week, but several days I've been saying 950 instead of 850. There was another one, and what did I do with that? Oh, here it is. This is the other one that I got. This is fingering weight. This is DK weight, and I only got one skein of this, and it's called, not surprisingly, Pink. It's 100% Highland wool. It's 225 meters. And I feel like Crystal of Vagaday because I want to rub it on my face and smell it. I don't know what it is. I think he was wearing some kind of a nice scent when he packaged the yarn up because I can smell it now. But because he said he didn't like put anything on it to make it smell nice, but I'm sure he was wearing something nice that day. So this is going to be actually whatever it is I make with these, I think I know what I'm going to make with this. I haven't decided yet. I honestly, I'm not sure I've ever worked with fingering weight before, so I have to consider this. Hi, J Hook, nice to see you. Um, um, uh, I have to consider what to do with this. Somebody says 930 yards of this fingering weight. But this is whatever 225 meters is in yards. This is going to be another one of these. This Alicia shawl is what I call it. Do you know what's funny? I just, my yarn does not smell anywhere near as good as what his does. But then this yarn came from the dollar store. The friend I named the Alicia shawl for, I sent her off. Oh, hi, Crystal. I'm so glad to see you. And hi, Christie's Creations. Who else has come in? Anyway, so Crystal, did you see the yarn I was just showing? This isn't it beautiful? It's from Paw Ply Creations. I was telling you about Daniel before. Um, anyway, but what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Or as I like to say, I had a thought, but it died of loneliness. Um, oh, I know. This is my Alicia shawl, which also works as a scarf. It's going to work for a scarf for this one recipient. Um, so the friend for whom I named the Alicia shawl, I just sent off a package that was my Granny D moss stitch shawl and a beret to go with it in the same yarn, which was a Lion Brand Mandala Tweed, which is one of my favorite yarns now. But I didn't include an Alicia shawl, and it was for Alicia. So I have to send her a new package now. Fortunately, I have several samples, including this one, which I created with some ice yarn that I got from Yarn Nut. If you all know Yarn Nut, if you don't know Yarn Nut, go see her. It's yarnnut.com. She distributes ice yarns on this side of the pond. So you don't have to pay shipping from Turkey. Let's see. Yes, it's wonderful stuff. So actually, Daniel told me he's gotten some orders because I've been raving about him for a while now. I don't know why people think I have a crush on him. I just don't know why. Except for the fact that he's 24 and totally adorable and totally unavailable and on the other side of the world, just what I look for. But anyway, I was Yarn Nut. Yes, I got some ice yarn from Yarn Nut, and it's wonderful. Oh, I'm glad you think so, Dana. Have I sent you that pattern? Um, it's really easy, and I'm surprised no one else has done it. I'm sure someone else has done it. But you know what they say, nothing new under the sun. Yeah. Anyway, the more things change, the more things stay the same. So I'm making another Alicia shawl that is going to serve as a scarf for a man I know who he's an American, but he's an opera singer and works an awful lot in Northern Europe. So I hope that he will appreciate it next winter. I hope he will take pictures of it. I hope that you all saw the picture that my other friend Lisette Oropeza, who is an absolutely wonderful opera singer at the very top of her game, and I can only imagine it going it her star rising. Um, but anyway, I sent her. Um, I had made it was Dana's pattern for the prosperity tea, and I had made one for her. It was with double-stranded, rather lightweight cotton yarn, and she posted a picture of it, and she looked so beautiful in it, and she told me that she loved it. So I reposted it. She posted it on her Instagram. And I was absolutely thrilled about that. I got some Instagram traffic from it. Um, who knows whether I will get YouTube traffic? I don't know. It's a totally different animal. But you know what? It's okay. Oh, Reggie says that she saw it and she thought it was gorgeous too. I mean, she's a perfectly beautiful lady, and you all. I mean, her singing is stunning, absolutely stunning. So check her out for that reason as well. But she did look beautiful in my. Oh, hey, Granny D, glad to see you. Oh yeah, yeah, Granny. There's no escaping me. Yeah, yep, 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 yep. I actually Well, I tended to sort of fade early in the evening and just go to bed early, and then I sleep for a few hours, and then I'm up for a few hours in the middle of the night, and then I have to sleep again, like very early morning or something like that. Ooh. And I'm always tired 24 hours a day. There's no escaping that. Mm. What's on sale, Liz? Um, Granny D's on sale? I don't think so. Nah, nah. Anyway, so yeah. What was I going to say? So yeah, I've right now I'm just working on a hat because I wanted to do the hat, and then all of the rest of the yarn goes into the. Oh, it's a raid! Hooray! I'm glad to see people here. My goodness gracious, we have 17 people. Um, I did not expect that at all. Ingrid says I'm silly. I'm not silly at all. I'm 100% serious all the time. Just you get that silly idea out of your head. Um, what was I going to say? So yes, I'm doing this hat, which is it's I did a variation of my rice stitch hat. This is my rice stitch hat. It has the rice stitch on the side, and on the top it's just your basic circle beginning. But my variation, I do ridges at the beginning, and then based on that, I do the rice stitch. And the rice stitch is so easy. You just oh, hi, Mark. I didn't expect to see you here, but I'm glad to. So I hope Nightbot is working because I have some people's links to share as well as my own, of course. It's all about self-promotion. Hi, Susan Burke. Let's see, what else? What else? Zach raid. Oh, okay. I've never been raided by Zach before. Should I prepare myself? Okay, let's bring. Let's bring you up. There we go.
Hey guys, thanks for having me up. I think it's my
Oh,
first time up on your panel.
but and if I want to hear you, don't I? Because the speaker on this computer is not very good. Okay, whatever you just said, say it again.
I think it's my first time up on your panel, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. It is. But you're certainly welcome up here.
Thanks for having me.
So what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. I just got through watching Triple C and Joe. I always love their live streams.
I used to watch them a lot more in the middle of the night, but
Mhm.
nowadays I fall asleep early, but then I wake up in the middle of the night, and so I catch the end of them. And when they said that they were going off and asked if anyone wanted to go live, I'm going, well, sure, yeah, I could use me some hours, and here I am.
Yeah, and I always have a good time over there, and I also visit the other channels as well, like Live Talk with Liz and
Oh,
Granny
Liz,
D.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, we
I,
love Liz. We love Granny D.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know over at Mukbangs and More, I was playing Whack a Troll over there. It was a, it was a troll game tonight for sure over there. He can tell you.
Oh,
Yeah, it was not very pleasant.
I have been very fortunate, knock on wood, um, um, uh, regarding trolls and unpleasant comments.
Yeah, it was.
So, and I know, it's inevitable. It's going to happen sometime.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
it's it's
I've learned the later you go in the nighttime, especially at one. I don't know if you're Eastern or Central.
Eastern.
Okay, it's 1:30 in the morning, and I've been told is the later you go in the mornings, the more prone you are to trolls.
I would be willing to bet that has to do with people becoming more and more inebriated as the night wears on. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, which also happens to me, but I can at least remain coherent usually. Um, and I try not to say mean things to people. Sometimes I do say things that surprise people unintentionally, but yeah, sometimes I have ideas that are different from a lot of people that we know, but that's okay too. Why?
Mark says good reasoning for unwanted trolling, David.
About how it's inevitable, or about how it probably happens because people, drink or whatever it is they're doing more and more as
Hmm.
the night wears on.
Hmm.
And it's got to be true. Yeah.
Hmm. So, w- um, so you do a lot of knitting and crocheting on your channel?
I only crochet. I
Oh,
do
okay.
not knit. Knitting is a mystery to me.
Oh,
I'm not sure I will ever understand it, but there is so much to do with crochet
mm-hmm.
that I'm not in a hurry
Mm-hmm.
to put the crochet aside and pick up knitting because there's so much that I haven't yet done that I still want to do. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Mukbang says. Oh, he says he didn't bring the trolls. I'm glad to hear it. That's very kind of you. Um, let's see what else is going on. So, So you recently just completed your program, your school program in auto mechanics. Is that what it was?
Yes, I did, and um, as of June the 11th, I will be have graduated a month.
Okay.
Because I graduated May the 11th.
Cool.
So
Cool. So then, you were saying that you're looking for something part time, uh, to
yeah,
coordinate with benefits that you're receiving, so that
I wanna because I know if I start full time, I'm gonna lose my benefits. What I'm receiving.
is that disability?
Hmm.
Okay, I'm trying to get disability, but
And
I'm
see,
not holding my breath.
thanks, Mark. I um and uh and see the biggest issue that I'm running into as of right now, the places that I've called around, nobody's hiring right now at the moment. As far as in the as
In
far as
the auto
auto
service world, yeah.
auto mechanic. Now, the only thing I find that's really hiring right now is like uh, fast food restaurants, grocery stores, places like that.
Yeah, around here, I'm always seeing signs in like retail stores, grocery stores, or any other kind of store, and also the fast food places and other restaurants that they're looking for help. But I don't know how it is uh, for mechanics. Um,
And another issue that I've run into is that when I've went and tried to get on as far as like a parts salesman or something that deals with the automotive field, uh,
mhm.
they have told me that they're always looking for somebody that has already had like 10, 15, 20 years of experience.
Because
And,
that's with
and
the employment situation that is out there, that's probably the level of applicants that they're getting. So they might be able to be that choosy, which
mhm.
is unfortunate for like new graduates like you.
And another thing too is that where I have to either use a walker or a wheelchair to get around because
Oh, okay.
uh, 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 they're also most places are leery about taking that risk and chance because they're afraid that if I get hurt on the job, then I'm gonna cost them money. I'm gonna cost the business money, and they're not gonna want to cover that.
Hmm.
it,
Yeah,
it's the liability and insurance issue.
I can well imagine them having that kind of a
And
line of thought. Yeah.
because OSHA steps in and says, uh, sorry, we just can't take that risk.
Now,
And
is there something that you could do with your skills that is more of a desk job that might make potential employers more comfortable, or is that
uh,
something that doesn't interest you at all?
I would rather do something like hands on, like with tools, taking a motor apart or something. Because I've always liked, ever since I was knee high, as the old saying goes, knee high to a
Yeah, I do a grasshopper. Yeah.
I've always liked lawnmowers, weed eaters, cars, and anything with the motor. And I've always liked hands-on type things, like taking something apart and putting it back together.
Mm. Mm. And it's not like without having a certain amount of more general experience. I would think if you wanted to like focus, like sitting at a workbench and taking parts apart, components apart and fixing them, um, as opposed to like having to move around a car a lot. Um, but which it sounds like that would really suit you, but you would need a certain level of more general experience
Mm-hmm.
before people would consider you for that. Is that true?
Well, I took auto mechanics
Mm-hmm.
in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I took it all 4 years in high school, and
And
then
then
of
you.
course, and then I took it these 2 years in 2 years in college. So
Mm-hmm.
um, the thing about that is, Samuel. I hope I pronounced that right, Samuel Richards. The
Mm.
thing about working here at the house is that it's all on level, and there's barely any room between me and the other neighbors. Like, our neighbors have literally, the way they park their cars around here, they have literally blocked us from being able to get out of our own driveway.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
also, yeah, I would think
uh,
it would be very expensive setting
so
yourself up as a like a self-employed or
yeah,
your own shop.
the thing about it is that I realize, see, I'm wanting to be able to have my own business one day. And I'm wanting to be able to help people who cannot afford a garage to work on their cars.
Mm-hmm.
And but I also realize too that I I know that it's going to take some budgeting and things like that.
Yeah.
Like my dad said, and several others have told me, you have to have the funds in order to be able to get funding. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. 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 Yep.
You have
Exactly.
you have to have, yeah, you have to
You
have.
need a certain level of financial security before you can get any kind of uh, funding. Yeah.
Mm.
Now, have you ever thought about teaching other people auto mechanics? Because it sounds like you're very, very experienced and very familiar with it.
Yeah. I've learned. I have a cousin that used to work on cars,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually outdid his daddy one day, because
What?
his
What?
daddy always told him that he would never amount to a hill of beans, and he proved his daddy wrong. He went out and got a motor, and my cousin was 10 years old, maybe even 11, somewhere around there. But anyway, he went out and got a motor from a junkyard. That thing did not run, did not do nothing. He went and got the parts. He rebuilt it from scratch up. He got it to running afterwards.
Oh, that's cool.
and
Very, very
he
courage.
and he had been, and ever since then, he just started working on people's cars, and started helping people work on them, and he only had like a sixth grade grammar school.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He used to drive for a trucking company.
Mm-hmm.
uh I think it was for Ace, I believe he used to drive for. uh he drove all over the country. Well, you got to have a certain amount of training and things like that, and test in order to be able to drive a big rig like that.
Yeah.
Well, he was actually, he told me one time, he said, even he was even out doing uh, college and high school graduates passing the CDL test for the license, because they can even college and high school graduates that just got out of college and high school, they can even, and he was out doing them.
Hmm. So Bear was saying that she wished there was some kind of a co-op near her where people could just like a shop where people could go and do their own work and just learn from each other, sort of like a food co-op, that sort of thing. And I think that sounds great. And I've heard about that happening in places, but it's not available everywhere, I'm sure. Okay, I think this hat is probably going to be too big. But he said he has a big head, so I'm just going to keep going. Ah,
Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, it's sounds like a dilemma you're facing there.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm thinking, when a job asked me, when I went in for interviews,
Mm-hmm.
they've asked me, said, "Have you ever worked for this company before?" And I've had to say no, because it's my first job.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Well, how much?" I'm like, I've not really worked anywhere, so how? I'm thinking, I let them know. I said, "How is somebody supposed to get experience if the job is not willing to let you even get how you to
Yeah,
even get the experience?" I mean, it doesn't, it doesn't make sense to me.
and do you know what? That dilemma has faced people for years and years and years. They want experienced people, but then they don't want to hire people without experience. So where do people get experience?
You got to start somewhere.
Well, you would think, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know anything anymore, I think. So what's
I
going
mean,
on in the chat? Am I missing anything in the chat?
Is
uh,
Brenda here? Did I
just
miss Brenda
people,
coming in?
just people saying hello and talking about their uh, yarn and
Okay,
crochet and things.
yeah, I saw the name Brenda and I was thinking of Brenda the newbie crocheter, but I don't think she's here. So it must have been another Brenda, which is okay
Hmm.
because we love all Brendas equally. But
Yes.
um, oh, Liz is looking at Ice Yarn at yarnnut.com.
Mm.
Oh, Bears Crochet Critters is also Brenda. Oh, now I get it. Okay. Mm. Mm. So yeah, Bear is being encouraging. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for everyone. I'm in a
Yeah.
situation where, you know, um, the thought of going back into the kind of corporate position that I had before makes
Mm-hmm.
me want to die. Um, plus, no one would have me because so much has happened. And I really never did get any kind of a certification. And in corporate technical world, certifications mean a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sort of slurped into the positions that I had. One thing led to another.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't want to do that. Physically, I can't really do the kind of things that I am otherwise qualified for, which might be like retail, because I can't stand for a long time. I certainly can't crouch or stoop
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. I can't be a stock
Well,
boy of
see,
any sort.
mm-hmm.
Um, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm
That's
58
kind of
years
like me.
old.
I have to. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I would be I would be a stock daddy more than a stock boy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anyway, yeah. So it's sort of six of one, half a dozen of another, and then
Mm-hmm.
of course I was turned down with the first round of disability. They said, "Oh, you could be a software developer," and I'm going, "In whose world is that going to happen?" Because even when I was doing that, it was with a very, very narrow set of skills that are now obsolete. And I don't know anything else. And I'm certainly not going to learn it at this age. I don't know. I don't know. I have strong feelings about that, and I'm not going to get angry right now. But
Mm-hmm.
so, still working on my disability claim, hoping it comes through. But I'm also working on side hustles and trying to bring in other kinds of income like patterns and merch and that sort of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody, when Nightbot drops my link tree link, go and look at my page and see all of my links for my patterns on Ravelry, my merch on Etsy, and everything else. And give me watch hours so that I can be monetized on YouTube. Yeah, that was subtle with a capital T, wasn't it? Um,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Whisper, glad to see you.
Hey, Whisper.
Well, anyway, so yeah,
And that is
it's
one
hard.
of the
And
things that I would like to put on my YouTube channel is some how-to videos uh, on working on cars because um, I know that most people go to YouTube and
mhm.
they search it up on YouTube on how to do things.
Exactly, I've certainly done that, and I've seen a lot of automotive videos on YouTube. So if you could, I think that would be a very good thing if you could make that happen. Just
Yeah,
what do you think
I,
your angle would be? Your unique selling proposition? Since I talk like that because I spent so many years in the corporate world. But what would make you stand out from as an automotive YouTuber?
well, I just hope that I'd be able to put out some videos that would help somebody, who
I
who
wonder whether now I'm sure that when you were in school, I mean, and forgive me if I'm just talking off the top of my head and making no sense at all. But I'm sure when you were in school, you had to figure out ways to work on cars with your limited mobility. Do you
Yeah,
suppose that
well,
you could make that part of what you offer as a YouTuber, how to work on cars if your mobility is limited some way, in some
well,
way?
I was allowed to sit on my seat, but of course, since this, we had to do it in a weird way since this pandemic has hit.
Uh-huh.
And see, the professor, he would allow us to work in groups, but we had to we had to stay. Only one person could work on whatever we was working on. Then, whether it be a transmission, motor, whatever it is.
So if you like had a group of
Um,
people working on a car at one time, one person worked on one system and another person worked on
well, see,
another system.
we had to stay we had to stay 6 feet away from that person while they worked on it because of this pandemic situation, and we
Hmm.
also had to wear our mask. So,
Well, we
uh,
hope that with vaccination and everything that might be there might be some relief there, but then again, you never know.
I
Um,
yeah, I wanted to answer. I wanted to answer. Let's see, barefoot. No, I'm sorry. There's some channels called Barefoot Adventures and things, but I
you mean
meant
Bear's Crochet?
I mean Bears Crochet. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Bears Crochet says, "Have you considered trade schools or other certification programs to count for experience?" Well, I just finished. Like I said, I just finished as of
May 11th, you said, right? Yeah,
as
we
of
just
May 11th. I actually just finished Northeast State Community College in the certificate program of automotive technology. They call it automotive
yeah.
technology.
So yeah. So
So
Whisper is saying car maintenance videos with understandable ways of talking, not super technical wording would work well because the professional speech is not the general you. Yeah, yeah, that's true. There are some automotive YouTubers out there who do talk in a way that acknowledges, I suppose, the limited knowledge of their audience, but
mhm.
it can get confusing. I mean, and even, I mean, I understand a lot of it in principle, but I would never dare touch anything in my car. I'm afraid to touch it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because nowadays all cars are computerized and they got all kinds of different sensors and some of them got two or three of the same sensor and then you got to figure out which one blew what and where it's located and all that
Yeah, and
and
oh,
it
excuse me.
cost a lot of this right here to fix it a lot of times.
And yeah, of course, yeah. Oh, hi, Breezy's Bike Shop. I'm not sure I saw you come in, but you're welcome.
I
Um,
know I know a friend of mine that had a PT Cruiser one time.
oh, I'm
Of
so
course
sorry for your friend.
he didn't have it long. Both
I'm
computer,
sure.
both okay, but get this, both computers. Now, that thing had two computers in it, and both of them went out on it. Okay, well, it costed him. Both of them were they were $1,500 a piece, and he
So that was
said,
like more than the car was worth, right?
He said, I don't even think he, I don't even think he, I don't, I think he just went ahead and sold it as is and found it another home because he, he didn't keep it long.
Yeah, that's the thing
And
about
see, like, I don't know if you've heard me talk about. I'm old school. I like the old cars better than the ones that they have nowadays because they don't. You don't have to take half of it apart just to get the one certain part.
a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of them. I keep seeing these videos that show how difficult it is to work with them because there's no space, and you do have to take it apart to even something as simple as an oil change, um, for some of them. But then there's also the whole
Mhm.
computerized thing, and but honestly,
Mm.
I was being silly there, but honestly, I have never heard a good thing about a PT Cruiser ever. Huh. But that's another thing. Let's see.
But
Samiyas is saying
Ken, maybe you could do
different
some
lights that
videos on
pop
different.
on. Oh, like the dashboard lights, the warning lights. Actually, I like that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, yeah, yeah. But think about the suggestion of ways to do videos, um, car maintenance for people with limited mobility, like you have. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think I think that would be unique,
Mm-hmm.
and so it might attract
Mm-hmm.
viewers to you. Um, and obviously, it's an area of expertise for you.
Good
Um,
night.
but
Good night,
at the
Zach.
same time, go ahead.
I was telling Zach good night because he said he was leaving, going to
Oh,
bed.
oh,
But he
okay.
was going.
Oh,
He
I
was
missed
going.
that. Yeah.
He was going
Yeah.
to leave you running though.
Oh, oh. Well, thank you, Zach. Yeah. I mean, I understand that you don't want your disability to be your identity, but at the same time, I think that if you use it as a tool for um, um, teaching others,
Mm-hmm.
that it could be very useful for others, and in that way also be useful for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just talking off the top of my head. I might have no idea what I'm talking about. It's not the first time that would have happened. But
Yeah, I understand. But yeah, I mean, I've, you know, I actually, believe it or not, I actually, by the way, that some of these parts places they hire these people that doesn't have hardly any. They act like they don't know nothing from A to Z or anything. Because I mean, I actually seem to know more than these people that work in these parts places. Because, for example, I actually, I actually called one day and I said, I need a fuel filter and an air filter for a 1976 GMC Royal Sierra. And I told them all the information that they needed to know. And I spoke with a manager, and she said she talked to me on the phone. And I told her all that, and she said I don't even know what that is. And I'm thinking, really? And you're a manager of a parts store? And I said, and I said, well, can you look it up on the computer? She said, I have no idea how. I don't know how. I'm thinking, okay. So I said, well, can you give me somebody that does know? So uh, finally, she transferred me to somebody that did know how. And I'm thinking, you're a manager of a store and you don't know how to look stuff up on a computer or know the basics of a vehicle.
Yeah, that's that. But
That's not good.
it's definitely not. But it's also not terribly uncommon
And
because those retail outlets, they don't pay very much, so they're not going to get people with a great deal of knowledge or skill, because the people with the skill
mhm,
and the knowledge can find jobs, especially once they get some experience. They can find jobs elsewhere.
mhm.
Yeah, that's why, like, you never get your oil changed at Walmart, because they might not even know to put the plug back in.
Mhm. That's one reason why I only let certain people touch our vehicles. I do not let just anybody do it.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah. And I find,
and
well, the way I found the mechanic that I use, the shop that I use now, this hat is
mhm,
definitely going to be too big, but I don't care. Um, the way I found my shop, the one I use right now, I looked on Yelp to get some consumer reviews. I found a shop where there were lots of reviews from women who said that they were treated with respect and not treated in a condescending way. And that told me that these are intelligent people and people who respect every customer. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Plus, they know what they're doing too, because there were no complaints about what they do, but their customer service was like 5 star. You know. Okay, Joe says something. Oh, okay. Joe's
I actually
responding to
know. I actually
someone.
know a person. Yeah, I actually know a person that had that has got a 1926 um
26.
uh,
Wow.
the Model T, Model A, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
the yeah, and it was
Probably would
all
have been a Model A at that time. Yeah.
Model A, yeah, Model A.
Probably. I'm not sure. I can't say for
I,
certain,
I
but
can't remember. I remember Model T and the Model A, and they actually went down to O'Reilly's and got a part for it. So you can still get parts. You just
there
gotta know
are there
you
are
just
some
gotta know where to go.
yeah, there are some automotive YouTubers who swear by O'Reilly's, and
Yeah,
they if they ever are forced to go to a different store, they state outright that they feel like they're cheating.
because these people that's got these older cars like that, they're not gonna get rid of them because they know that it's gonna be worth some money in the long run.
But it's not even about the money at that point. It's
Yeah,
there's got to be some kind of a connection
yeah,
with an antique like that. I mean, that's why
yeah.
people buy antiques. It's not the money usually. Well, yeah, Joe, I wouldn't want. I suspect you wouldn't be able to order a transmission for a 1775 anything.
Because I don't even think cars even existed back then, did they?
No, I'm making fun of his typo actually, but
Yeah.
but 1975. Yeah, it depends upon the store. Yeah, yeah, and it is hard sometimes to find car parts, especially when they're that old. Um, yeah, Joe's making
But
faces at me. Yeah.
yeah, they were yeah, yeah, they were a lot better made back then.
In 1775, yeah, I'm sure they were.
No, I'm talking about. No, I was talking about like in
1975, yeah.
1976,
Mm.
19.
I,
But there's like
the
several. I found that there's several websites. There's several websites you can go to and get them that way as well. Like
oh
uh,
yeah, I'm sure.
Rock
Yeah.
Auto, and
Mm-hmm.
hey, hey, I wouldn't be scared to hop in that thing and go to California and back. I told my
Yeah.
regular mechanic. I told my regular mechanic that does my mechanic work for me. I told him. I said, I got more trust and confidence in the older stuff than I do this newer stuff I got nowadays.
That doesn't surprise me. Joe is saying
And,
that 1976 is super old, and I'm sure to someone in his 30s it is. But I remember 1976.
yeah,
So it's not that old to me.
it's 43, 42.
We
Yeah,
don't have to count the years, but I'm
uh,
plenty old.
yeah.
I was in high school in the late 70s, and I remember I wanted so badly. I wanted a 75 Caprice Classic convertible in white because that was one of the last years when they were huge before they um downsized. 77 is when they downsized, and my family had a
Mhm.
77 Caprice Classic, and I drove it to college. Um, I drove it for many years, uh, but uh, I wanted a 75 because they had adopted the rectangular headlights, but they had that sort of oh, I don't even know how to describe it. Um, but they were so beautiful. I still think they're beautiful. But nowadays, if you find a Chevy of the from the 60s and 70s, they're all
Yeah.
souped up and modded, and they're you to
What
find something that is really showroom fresh or
what I like about
restored to that state, it's so unusual. Oh, hi Nadine. I didn't see you come in, but you're welcome in here.
what I liked about this truck that we got, it's all original, and uh, and it even had the original. It even had the original copper radiator in it.
Copper.
Copper. Yes,
Wow.
sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
And and uh, but the couple we got it off of, his granddaddy or granddaddy, daddy, somebody had bought it brand new in the family,
Uh-huh.
and they just mostly they didn't drive it. It'd been mostly garage kept. They just drove it enough throughout the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
or every so often just to keep the parts moving and change the oil and the service of transmission.
Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Uh,
Joe is saying
and
he wants an antique car to fix up and drive for special occasions. I would love to have something from the 60s or 70s. I think this mid to late 60s were
but
the very best time for design.
Yeah.
for actual. I think the cars of that era are unspeakably beautiful.
But yeah, that
Um,
thing hit that here a while back. But it's been about 2 or 3 years now. But that thing hit that thing hit a 2014 Chevrolet Malibu. Well, you imagine what that thing did to that Malibu. That thing made it look like a pancake at Malibu because because it
yeah,
busted it busted it busted the suspension underneath a whole back end on it, and we just barely tapped it. And
mm,
with that, and back in those years, the older they were, the more tougher they were in metal. And
exactly, exactly. Joe is saying that he would, if he had one of those precious old cars, he would treat it like a newborn baby, and so would I. I would garage it and just take it like out on Sunday afternoons, that sort of thing, or to like an antique car rally, that sort of thing.
yeah, but I told my other mechanic, and he said, hey, I said, you know why? I said, because they got like $1 computer stuff on it. And he said, yeah, that's it. And he even agreed with me. He said, and he told us, he said, when we got that truck, he said, about out of all the cars you brought me, he said that 76 has been the best one you brought me. I said, you know
Mm.
why, don't you? And I said, because it ain't got all that $1 computer stuff on it, and you can actually work on it and get the stuff.
Because it was most of it still mechanical at that point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nadine was saying they have a car rental place in the San Francisco area where they rent out those kind of antiques.
yeah.
Oh God, how wonderful would that
But
be?
I am wanting
Probably
to.
very expensive too. Yeah. Sorry.
The only thing it did to our truck was tore the grill out of the front of it and tore the linkage up to the shifter. We fixed the linkage to the shifter, and it's like brand new. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Well.
that 2014 Chevrolet Malibu, it had to go see the crusher.
Well, I think most 2014 Malibus have seen the Crusher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because all cars are made out of nowadays just thin plastic and fiberglass.
Mhm.
Thin plastic and fiberglass is all they're made out of nowadays.
Oh, Liz is saying that her neighbors belong to a car club and she wants to film what they do. I think that sounds fascinating. I would love that. Um, I'm always checking out area or regional car clubs, but I never
Yeah,
really go to events. I wish I always forget them when they come around. I think, oh, I want to go see that, but then when it happens, I forget that it is happening. Um, but I would love that sort of thing. I would probably
yeah,
spend money if I went there. Joe is saying with the you want the high dollar computer stuff for everyday driving. You need that kind of stuff for everyday driving usually because it has so much to offer you. At the same time, there's so much that can go wrong,
yeah.
and
Well, I mean,
it's
there's people out there that can't, when it messes up, they can't afford to fix it. So,
exactly.
uh,
Now, Joe and Dana recently got a new car, um, and if I understand correctly, they got an extended service plan with it as well, which is very often a good idea, so
yeah,
that most things, except for like regular maintenance, are going to be covered.
yeah,
Regular maintenance, nobody covers because you got to do that wear and tear, that sort of thing. You got to
yeah.
do oil changes. Sometimes oil changes are covered,
Nice.
but not always. It depends upon the make. Sometimes it depends upon the dealer, but tires rarely, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
still, that
You,
there's a channel I follow called Your Auto Advocate, where they it's a father and son team, and one of
mm-hmm.
them was in the auto sales business for like 40 something years before he retired. And
Yeah.
so now they are teaching people how to approach the auto sales process as a consumer. And there is so much to learn that a lot of people just don't really understand. And they're doing a tremendous job of educating people. And there's so much that people, I mean, there's a lot that I didn't know that I didn't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, so it's well, I mean, it's that way, I guess, about any field of knowledge. You don't know what you don't know. But if you
Yeah.
realize that you don't know what you don't know, then you at least know something.
Yeah. But you was talking about oil change. I got a friend of mine. He bought a. He told me, he said many times. He said, "I wished I hadn't have bought it. If I'd known it was made like this, I wouldn't have bought it." He said he bought a 2000. I believe it was a 2005 Chevrolet Cobalt car. Okay, and to do an oil change, you have to take that whole turbo section off of it,
Yeah, that's
and,
what I was saying.
and
There's
that's where the oil filter's at. And to do it right, it takes 4 hours to do an oil change on that car.
and at $100 an hour, which is a typical charge nowadays, that's not a cheap thing.
Uh,
Yeah,
and another thing is, he also found out that a bunch of these like dealers and stuff and actual mechanic garages and stuff, they will not touch it because of what all you got to do just to change the oil.
there are a
And
lot
see,
of
I know
us.
people. I know, yeah, I know people that's run into that situation even with these newer cars nowadays, and I'm thinking, why are these manufacturers and these car dealers making these cars that complicated, and then the people not wanting to touch them? You know what I'm saying?
They have all of these conflicting goals.
Yeah.
It's I mean, they want to make the cars lighter. They want to
Mm-hmm.
make them smaller. They want to make the more fuel efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they it seems like making them easy to work on is a lower priority. But I keep hearing stories about cars like that, where just the way the engine compartment is configured, it's almost impossible to work on
And he,
without doing all sorts of complicated stuff.
yeah,
So, and
yeah,
not only that, nowadays they're making teeny tiny engines with turbochargers
mm-hmm.
just to get horsepower, but because there are more moving parts, I am given to understand from the things that I see and read, because I'm no expert, but because there are more moving parts, there's a lot more that will go wrong and
Mm-hmm.
a lot
It
more
costs more of
expense in
this,
the
and it costs
future.
more of this
Yeah,
right here. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So, if you've got a three-cylinder, like what, 1 liter engine, um, with a turbocharger, you're honestly
You're paying out more to fix it than you are than what you
to
paid
buy
to buy
it.
to
Yeah,
buy it. So yeah,
yeah.
it
So
just ain't worth it myself. I don't care.
exactly.
It
Yeah,
just ain't
I
worth
would.
it.
So I mean, most of us. I mean, a lot of us.
But here again, I know and understand that everybody has their own liking as to what they like to have and what what they and
And
that's
cars are actually a very emotional thing for Americans. It's like all very much tied up in our identities
yeah.
as people. And I don't even think that a lot of people are aware of how strongly tied up they are. But they
Yeah.
are. But there's a lot to consider. And
But,
if you let go of some of those like emotional needs that are not
mm,
always that realistic, they're just ego driven, you might be a little better off.
yeah.
So,
Well, going back to my cousin, he got a 70, 78 or 79 1-ton pickup truck. It's got that 351 modified in it, which is bored out to be a small block 400. Anyway, he's had that thing in the family, I guess, about 30 about 30 some years, I guess.
mm-hmm.
And that thing is still running. That thing's still running as good today as it did when he bought it. And the
And
only
what year?
thing is 70, I believe it's either a 78 or a 79,
And
and
what model was it? A Ford something?
is a F1 is a 1-ton pickup truck.
Oh, an F 150 or higher? 250, 350? Yeah.
I just know it's a 1-ton. I think it's a F-150 1-ton, I believe.
Yeah. But yeah, I've heard it said that um, American car makers, um, and nobody gives respect to American car makers in terms of quality for at least for the passenger cars, but for trucks,
Yeah.
they still do have more a higher quality level because they have to,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not gonna get the ongoing commercial sales that they need, like think of GMC trucks and that sort of thing. They're
Mm-hmm.
not going to get that if they break all the time. So they have to instill quality there, but they just really slack on the passenger cars just to get them out the door for a palatable price.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he the only thing he did to that truck ever since he had it was he changed the rear end in it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and things to make it a little easier on gas. And then he also rebuilt the distributor. He rebuilt the distributor in it. But as far as like rebuilding the motor or rebuilding the carburetor or rebuilding the transmission or anything, he's not done any of that. And now he has kept it up, like the main maintenance of it and stuff, like change the oil regularly, service
Well,
transmission.
yeah, you always have to do that.
I mean,
Do you know, once I
yeah.
saw one of these magazines, something like Consumer Reports or something along those lines, that from the cover it was like it was going to say the secret to having a car last 200,000 miles. You know
Mm-hmm.
what the secret is? Take care of it.
Maintain, take care of it. If you want your car to get you from point A to point B, you're gonna have to, because
Take care of it.
it's not gonna take care
Yeah,
of itself.
exactly. How hard is that? Take care of it. If there's a problem, get it seen to right away. Do your regularly scheduled maintenance. Um, how hard is that?
that that 1-ton pickup truck, it's got so much power.
Oh, I'll
After he
bet.
done that work, he got after he done that work on that rear end, he got it out here on he got it out here on the interstate. Okay, took it out for a test drive. Well, one of my other cousins was in the vehicle with him, and
Excuse me.
he started out he started out like 40, 50 mile an hour. Well, he started getting down on it and boogieing on down, and he sent that speedometer needle all the way around the board twice, and still had acceleration left.
No.
my cousin, my
Whoa.
cousin, my
I'd be
cousin,
sort of scared at that point. I hope
well,
he has
my
those
cousin,
seat belts.
my cousin, but my cousin that was in the passenger seat with him said, "Can I have this thing?" He said, "No." He said, "My cousin told us, said, no, you kill yourself." And yeah, at that time he would have killed himself because he was always one of them that was never was into taking care of vehicles or anything, and stuff. But anyway, and then I also had another cousin that had. You always had to read him. You always had to read him backwards. He owned a car lot, okay,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
uh, if he started telling you, if he and my cousin has got this 1 ton pickup truck he bought off him, and anyway. But the one that owned the car lot, he'd always, yeah, he had to read him backwards. If the one that owned the car lot, if he started telling you how good one was, you best better leave it alone. If he started bragging about how bad one was, you knew that was the best thing on the lot. So my cousin bought that 1 ton truck off of the because my cousin owned the car lot. He said, "Oh no, you don't want that." He said, either I get that 1 ton truck, or Milkman don't get that 53 F100 pickup truck, orange
Mm.
pickup that he had, that my cousin had. He just put a new slave cylinder in and clutch and all that. And he said,
Good
I
night.
get that. Yeah. Good night to the ones
Good
that
night, Bears
sleeping.
Crochet Critters. Yeah.
And good night,
So
miss. But
Nadine is saying that Cadillacs are great American
yeah,
cars.
yeah.
Not always true. There are some Cadillacs that have not stood the test of time, but I've always respected Cadillac, and I would love to have one. I actually, in fact, the ATS, which was supposed to be um, competition for the BMW 3 Series, I read really, really good things about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of wish I had bought one at the time. Because,
Mm-hmm.
I bought a BMW for my 50th birthday. I was
Mm-hmm.
very impressed with my own generosity. Um, but I sort of wish I had bought a Cadillac and an ATS instead. But I loved my BMW 5 Series. But I was also glad to get rid of it
Mm-hmm.
because German cars are expensive to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with BMW and Mercedes, the high end ones, there are going to be problems.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he and the one that owned the car lot, he had a son that he would always he would which is also my cousin as well. He would always run it to the ground. You give him a good car, and he wouldn't have it maybe 6 months. before he done load something up, or because he let that oil get so thick. You take it, you take it, you take that oil pan off her, it'd be like slicing pie.
So it's not the amount of miles; it's just the
And
way he
he
gets
would
it.
only
Yeah.
drive. I don't care if the speed limit was 50. He would only drive 20 mile an hour all the time. 20 mile an hour, 20, 30 mile an hour. That'd be his speed limit. My
Really?
cousin, my cousin one time has got the 1-ton pickup truck. He got behind the line of cars one time, and he told his wife, said, "I guarantee you that is Lester. That's the one that always drove 20, 30 mile an hour all the time." He said, "I guarantee you that's Lester up at the first car he could see." Sure enough, he got up there and sure enough, it was my cousin Lester. And
Mm.
he had a whole line of cars. I mean, I don't know what it was, but he's always like it. But one day, my cousin had owned the car lot that uh, my cousin owned the car lot. One of his cars had broke down. Well, he called my cousin with the 1-ton. He said, "Can you come get the?" He said, "I'll be right there." So
Mm.
he went and went and towed I think it was a Chevrolet something, or it was something. One of them broke down. Anyway, well, my cousin that owned the car lot, he started bragging on that 1-ton pickup truck. He said, and my cousin that owned that 1-ton pickup truck. He said, now, let me tell you something. Which one's pulling which? Which one's pulling which?
Yeah. Yep. 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 Yep.
And he never did. He never did. He never did run it down no more after that.
Well,
But yeah, yeah,
Oh, Dana. Dana's still with us. Glad to see you here still. Um.
but yeah.
So, I have to say though, I've been on for about an hour and a half, and I'm beginning to fade. I might call it quits in a little bit. Um, Not right now, but I'm probably not going to be on a whole lot longer.
You gonna make it a solid 2 hours?
I very well might. And in fact, I think that's a good goal. Thank you for suggesting that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, um,
Actually, that is a very good goal because right now I'm at exactly an hour and a half. And
mhm,
we do have 12 people in the room. So, I am getting those watch hours.
mhm.
Yeah, it takes a long
I'm
time
sure
to.
Triple C, Dana could also tell you that I'm a night owl, so and I'm drinking coffee. So,
Yeah, I'm actually I don't know. I don't even know that I have a pattern, but um um or if I have a pattern, I maybe I have several patterns, and it depends upon when you catch me what pattern is happening now. But right
Mhm.
now I go to bed early, I sleep for a few hours, I'm awake for a few hours, and then I just can't wait to get back into bed again. So I think once we reach 2 hours, that I think that's going to be the point when I have to call it quits.
Mhm.
So I'm sort of frogging part of this hat that's too big, but I think I will. Um, I'm not going to frog all of it. I'm just going to frog because the start of it was too big. But if I just and I've only done a couple of the vertical rows.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go back and just take one round off of the start,
Mm-hmm.
then the vertical rows will make it will be a lot smaller, and I think we'll be okay. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I honestly did not know
Yes.
that Jaguars have the Ford engine in
Oh
them.
yeah, Jaguar was part of Ford for quite a while.
Well,
Did
I
you not
knew
know that?
I didn't know that, but uh I knew that Lincoln, I think it was Lincoln, and I think it's Lincoln and Ford
Oh yeah, they've been
were
linked
part of
like since the dawn of time. But
it. Yeah.
yeah, Jaguar has been part of the Ford or was part of the Ford empire. Mazda, in fact, was also
Yeah.
part of the Ford empire, and
Mm-hmm.
actually, people say that once they separated from Ford again, that's when their quality went up, and now people love Mazdas.
Yeah.
Um, I would actually love to have a Mazda because I think they look beautiful and I read
Mm-hmm.
really good things about them. And they have this color red that really, really trips my trigger in ways that I probably should not speak about publicly. Um, but yeah, that's I would love to have a Mazda. I want a Mazda 62. Oh, they don't even call it a 626 anymore. It's a Mazda 6. Yeah. You can tell how old I
Mm-hmm.
am. Yeah. I remember when Mazdas had rotary engines
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. I never understood rotary engines, but I think
Yeah.
there are people who are trying to bring them back in a
Yeah.
modified form.
Mm-hmm.
But
I knew back in the olden days they all they had back then was cast iron.
hmm, yeah.
Um, they
And
didn't.
so when you say olden days, you mean when I was younger? Yes.
I like when cars first come out. That's all they had was
Oh yeah,
was
exactly.
cast iron. They didn't have like all aluminum and that stuff. What they got now.
Yeah, and they have found over time um, that some of the metal substitutions and the metal alloy substitutions do not um, do not stand up as well as they intended. Um, so I think the 70s and the 80s were a time when they learned a lot about that sort of thing. They were using a lot of aluminum because it was lighter, so they thought they would get better mileage,
Mm-hmm.
gas mileage out of a lighter weight engine or a lighter weight
Mm-hmm.
car. Um, but then they started finding that the aluminum blocks.
Break too easy.
Hmm.
You get you my 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 professor and my um, automotive teacher always told me back then they cast iron is all has been able to take in a lot more heat than the aluminum ones,
Hmm. Yeah.
and that's the reason why they last. They lasted a lot longer.
And I think there was a very, very big problem when the metal that the engine block and the
Mm-hmm.
metal that the engine head were made of were two different metal or two different alloys,
Mm-hmm.
so that they would expand at different rates. So you had all of these problems with heads.
Yeah,
And
well, I've heard people they'll have it half and half. It'll have the cast iron block, but have aluminum heads on it.
not a good idea. Yeah,
Not a good idea.
yeah,
Nope.
exactly. Yeah, I
And
think
and
nowadays, yeah, I at least I have read that they've learned enough about metallurgy
mhm,
to make things better. I hope.
yeah, and
All I
usually about 1 or 2 times after you get an aluminum engine hot, it's usually pretty much in for.
Yeah. So what do you drive yourself?
I actually don't drive,
Uh,
but the reason why I don't is because the DMV around here, they made me go through so much testing
mm-hmm.
and things that it's just uh, plain ridiculous what they make me go through. Uh,
Is that they're not accommodating to your
uh,
disability?
what it is, they uh, the DMV makes me go all the way down to Knoxville, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they made me go down to this rehabilitation program called Patricia Neal Rehabilitation. And they test my peripheral vision, my reaction time, and they do all that in clinical stuff. Well, that is, and you have to do it out of pocket.
You
That's a
have to pay yourself for all of that,
yeah, because no, and that's like $150 to $200 out of pocket.
and
And,
um,
and then they say, okay, you pass that. Then they say you can come up to the DMV, take their test, get your learner's permit, and then go all the way back down to Knoxville and take a driving course in that town. Okay? And
so
that,
taking a
yeah, I got to take
yeah.
a driving course in that town in Knoxville. And I have to, of course, I already knew that I had to have hand controls and stuff for me to be able to drive. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I also have to make sure that everything is in working order properly on the vehicle. Can't have anything wrong with it mechanically or anything wrong with it at all. Like for example, on the van, for some reason, um, I can't remember if it was the left one or the right blinker. One of them you have to hold the lever up with your hand in order to keep it flashing. It won't stay in the lock, and they wouldn't accept that. And see, I gotta find me a grill for the truck because they're not gonna accept the truck without without a grill in it. So anyway, they're so particular, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't see what what that you know what that would hurt anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
like a little more trouble than you really need to go to.
and
I mean,
Okay, and then I pass that, and then they say you can get your driver's license. Well, if I
Uh-huh.
need any other special training after that,
hmm
then that's another $150 to $200 an hour out of pocket. So you're adding all that up, and so you're talking like
a lot
almost,
of money.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of
yeah.
money. That
It's just not. It's
I
just not.
didn't realize. Yeah, is it that
It's
way in every state where it's so difficult to?
well, I know a guy. I don't know if you all have ever heard. I don't even know if Triple C or Joe has even heard of the gospel singing group, the Browders.
Sounds like the Dana and Joe would probably know of them, but I don't.
The Browders. Well, anyway, Tommy Browder, he's in a wheelchair. Okay, and of course he don't. He said himself he don't hardly. He don't hardly drive himself much, but I mean he does every now and then. But he was born with what do you call it? Polio. And he's in a wheelchair, and he's got his own van. He's got it rigged, and it's got a wheelchair lift in it, and and he's drove himself around, and he doesn't let that disability get to him. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
Uh, and I don't even think, of course, that was years ago, but now things have. See, I took that test back, all that test back, I guess, just before I graduated high school, which I graduated high school in 2013. And they told me back then, said I wasn't to their satisfaction. So, in other words, I failed it, so I wasn't to their satisfaction. And they said that I would not only be in danger to myself, but I'd also be in danger to others as well. And so I accepted that and moved on. So I said, if I have to go through all this again and again and again, I said, it's just not. And
It
see,
doesn't. Yeah.
it's just not worth it. And see,
Yeah.
I could pay somebody cheap to drive me around because like I said, Tommy Browder, he gets somebody that he has his own vehicle and he lives in his own house and he gets somebody to drive him around everywhere he goes. I mean, and if he
Well,
can, he'll drive himself. But I mean, but most of the time he'll usually get a neighbor or somebody that that he can trust and to drive him around, and and
sounds. Yeah.
so
Is that what you do? You have family or friends who drive you
right
wherever
now,
you need to go?
right now, I have my dad, but I've also had people ask me. Said they've asked me myself. Of course, I understand that the time will come that he's not going to be around. And they've asked me, said, what are you going to do if something happens to your dad and he's not around?
hmm I mean,
What are you
even if he
going
gets the
to do
flu.
then?
Yeah. So yeah, that
But
is a something you really do have to consider. And so you're like in Northeast Tennessee. So
I'm in Kingsport, Tennessee. I'm not very far from the Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge area.
Okay.
I'm about
So
45 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour from the Pigeon
so
Forge, Gatlinburg area.
I'm thinking you probably live in a place where there's not much public transportation and not much
Well, the
promise
thing of it
of public
is
transportation
okay.
developing soon.
Well,
Is that
we
true?
have NetTrans, okay,
Hmm.
but you're talking they only the insurance only covers for medical purposes only. So if you're wanting to go to the grocery store or anything outside of a doctor's office or a hospital or something like that, you have to pay for it out of pocket. Well, it's $10. It's $10 each way. So if I was to go from here to Food City, that'd be a $10 trip. If I was to go from Food City back to home, that'd be another $10. So you're
That's
looking you're looking at
yeah.
you're looking at 20 um, if I used them for everyday transportation.
You
Okay,
could pay someone less than that to drive
you,
you around.
you're looking at 50. You're looking at about $50 a week
Yeah, yeah.
for a 5 day for
Just going to the grocery store and back, right? Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that doesn't sound like a
yeah. It's what is it? It's $5. It's five. Let's see. It's $10 a day. So $10 a day round trip.
ah.
Uh,
Oh, so it's like the equivalent of a day pass.
you either have to do it. You either have to do the tickets or the um, 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 either cash or something like that. And even then, you're still limited as to how much groceries you can have.
Because it's only what you can carry, right?
It can only be as much as you can carry yourself because they're not going to, most of them
So,
aren't going
yeah,
to do it. So,
it does sound
so
like you might be better off just paying somebody. Even, I don't know if you have them there, just getting a car service to come, if, for grocery shopping, come
yeah,
pick you up, wait for you while you're inside the store, and then help you with your packages because they usually do. Um,
uh,
um, when you're
yeah,
done, because that's going to be less than if you only do it once or twice a week, especially. That's going to be a lot less than what you're talking about for the using the public transportation.
yeah.
That's, I mean, it's
And
in
we
our
have,
country we don't have a lot of public transportation, and most other,
yeah,
at least in Europe, which is the only thing I know. I've never been to any other continent, but they do have more public transportation, even in the small towns in Europe, than they do here. Um, and again, even there,
yeah.
it's not always convenient, but it
Well,
works a little better.
I've talked with a couple of friends of mine and things and stuff here, and they said that they would, if I needed it, they would help me out and things like that. And I just need to give them a
Hmm.
call But then I also look at too. I also look at too. They have their own lives to live. And what if there's a time that I do try to call somebody and they can't do it?
Well, that's why I mentioned the car service. I didn't even mention. I didn't even think about calling on friends. But a car
Yeah.
service, I don't know whether you have that there. But I spent many years in New York, so we had that there. But
But
where
yeah,
you'll
there's
just pay them.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a different kind of a taxi.
Yeah.
Where
Well,
they'll pick you up, they'll come, they'll wait, they'll charge you waiting time, but still they'll wait for you outside the store, and they usually will help you with your bags, especially if you are generous with them in return.
mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean.
Well, I know a regular taxi around here. It's ridiculous what they charge. They charge like they go by mile, and they charge $7 a mile, depending on where they have to come from. They charge
$7 a mile.
Yes.
I
Mm-hmm.
have never heard of such a thing.
I'm serious.
In New York, I mean, New York City is taxi central, and I have never seen it there that expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that what?
Yeah, I'm not making this up.
Yeah. Don't get me started. I'm just gonna.
I mean,
I'm thinking there are surely other options than a regular taxi.
I'm being honest. I've been honest with you. But yeah, I called one time, and they said that they said we charge by the mile, and it's depending on how far they have to come from. It's $7 a mile.
Yeah, I think that you need to call other people.
I remember one time I actually called one time. They I called another one time, and just to go, and I don't live very far from our local food city. I only live about 3 miles from our food city, and they charged $20. Okay,
Is that for the round trip?
about it was $20 each way. So $20 from here to Food City, and then $20 back. So for a round trip, that'd be $40.
That's ridiculous for
Yes.
a cab that is local to you. I mean, if they were coming from another city just to help you out, that would be different, because it would make sense for you to pay for the mileage for them to get from another city over to where you are. But it sounds like you're saying they're a local company, and they're charging that kind of. I mean, are people actually paying for it? I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, like I
actually,
said, you insurance only pays for like medical purposes only. So if you need anything outside of medical purposes, you have to do it out of pocket. And as I just explained,
I'm sure that it's
see, that's another thing too.
feasible to combine a medical trip with a trip to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen?
Uh,
So that at least it would be someone paid for. Anyway, I mean, I'm not in the business of offering solutions because I can't run my own life even. But um, it sounds like it's very difficult. So I understand,
yeah. I
especially
mean, it's
with
just.
what you're talking about, with the difficulty in finding a new job too, because of the transportation, because that's going to be an issue. I mean, they're not legally. There are some things that HR people are legally allowed to ask, and one of them
Mhm.
is like, are you going to be able to get here um, for a reasonable schedule for like however many days you need to be here and be here on time? That sort of
Mhm.
question is a reasonable question. It's not, I mean, they probably can't ask specifics for legal
Mhm.
reasons, but you know, they are within their legal rights to ask whether it's feasible for you to get there. And considering what you tell me about transportation where you live, I mean, it's sad, but I understand their concern. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and two here, um, you never know how long you're gonna have to wait for them to come pick you up
Mm-hmm.
because it could be anywhere from an hour to 2, 3, 4 hours at a time.
Exactly. Exactly.
And there's, you know, and at least if I get somebody that I know and trust to drive me in my own personal vehicle, at least I know I get there on time, and I know that they would be willing to sit there and wait because, like I said, here again, these public transportation people, they're not going to sit. In other words, you have to be ready on their terms. If you're not ready,
Exactly. Yeah.
if
With
you,
taxis, you have to pay
uh,
for waiting time if they're going to sit at a store while you're inside.
yeah,
You have to pay for waiting time, and I've
yeah,
done that before with car services in New York.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not ready when they're ready to go, you're just gonna get left
Hmm. Yeah.
because they're not gonna sit there and wait for you the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it's a very difficult situation.
Yeah, and Uber, that's kind of got me. It kind of got me scared today, especially after what I heard from a person that used Uber. Uh, of a story where a woman had got had thought she had gotten into the Uber, the one that dropped her off or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy actually took because she asked the questions, and the guy said yes. Said I'm the guy that, and the guy took her out and killed her. Had had and that's the reason why that turned me away on that. It been a while since that happened, but still, I would not trust it today.
I'm not sure if your opinion about Uber is based on that one story alone. I'm not sure that
Yeah,
I would agree with you there. Um,
But again, I also don't know um, what kind of services you have in your area with Uber,
Yeah.
because
And
different
see,
parts of the country have different
yeah,
levels of service. And if there are only, say,
yeah.
if you're in a small town, if there are only one or two Uber drivers, then you might be
See,
able to
I've not
nurse.
really seen much of that. I'm not really seeing much of that around here in my area,
Mm,
as far as Uber drivers. But um,
yeah, I'm yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like, I remember when they used to. There were always stories like that about people hooking up based on Craigslist ads, and
mhm,
it was actually no different from the risks that were there if they had first met in person, but it was a little bit heightened and a little bit sensationalized because it was online. Um, but the risks were always there, if you know what I mean.
mhm,
So, I mean, the risks are always going to be there. So I'm not sure that if that, and again, I'm only saying if you are basing your opinion on the one story that you have just shared, but I'm sure that you have other inputs
yeah,
that your opinion is based on. And also I don't know your area, so I don't know what it's like there.
mhm.
Um, Heck, I don't even know my area. I've been here for a couple of years, but I still feel like a New York transplant.
What part? So you live in New York? Is that?
No, I live in Wilmington, North Carolina, but I lived
Oh,
in the New York tri-state area for like 27 years. But my
mm,
family is here in North Carolina,
mm,
and I came here 2, 3 years ago after various life events made
mhm.
it seem like a really good option. And here I am.
Mm.
So I still feel like a New York transplant very often.
Uh, I want to say it was nice being able to chat with you. I see you're at the 2 hour mark, over the 2 hour mark.
I am, and I am actually getting very, very tired, so I might have to leave you. But I'm glad that you came up with me. It has been very nice, and I'm glad that everybody has stuck with us.
Yes.
Um,
Um,
and people have been commenting, and it's hard for me to keep up with the chat when I'm paying attention to what's going
I,
on the panel.
yeah.
And I hope people understand that.
I didn't know if you knew how to. Did you know you can slow your chat down?
Yeah, but why would I do that?
Uh, I didn't know. For you to be able to keep up with it. Uh,
But if I slow it down, it's not going to slow the rate of people actually making the comments, because the comments are going to be there, and I'd still have to catch up with them
yeah.
eventually
Yeah.
if I wanted to pay attention to them one by one, which is not always possible.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's all academic, it's all pedantic, and yeah, I'm very pedantic. Just ask anyone.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I
Thanks
am
for
done.
having me. Thanks for having me over.
Yeah,
I
well,
look
thanks for
forward
coming
to.
up,
I look,
and
look forward to even more.
I think that would be fun. I will probably do more of these spontaneous late night things, um, because I'm awake at this time of night, but
Mhm.
not for long the way I'm feeling right now.
Mm.
Oh, excuse me. Arr.
Bye, everyone. Good
Bye
night.
bye. Thank you, everybody who stuck with us.